Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports from around the world. Okay, we're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about the Detroit Lions and whether or not they are Super Bowl or bust. Now, I usually don't do this because I just made a Detroit Lions video about being Super Bowl or bust, and I unpacked it and did this whole thing. Then I literally just, after recording that video, I come across this First Things First clip that was posted today all about this. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this, even though it might have a lot of similarities, because I can only say so many things about the Detroit Lions and whether or not their chance to win a Super Bowl, but I still wanted to do this because it is First Things First, and obviously we all like First Things First, as well as we know Nick is going to say negative things about the Detroit Lions. He doesn't really think Goff is that good. He doesn't think that the Lions are that special. And so I really just wanted to hear what he has to say. I haven't watched this clip yet, so maybe he's going to surprise me. Maybe he's going to say, I think the Lions have a great chance. I would be shocked because he thought that it was a terrible signing by the Lions with Goff. And so I'm really curious to see what he has to say. So let's jump right into it and see what he has to say.
Detroit it's true, up 24-7 at halftime in the NFC Championship and could have gone on to the Super Bowl. So, does that mean the Lions are now S-Bob? Well, here's Dan Campbell. Take a listen.
The Super Bowl or bust this year for you guys from where you got to last year, so close to getting to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't know. The whole, I don't see bust. I see Super Bowl. I don't know what the bust is. So
Super Bowl or nothing?
It's, here's what I know, man. We all know what every team ought to have that, right? Every team ought to be like, man, what are you playing for? You're playing for a Super Bowl.
Brew is the official arbiter.
I like how the reporter tried to define what he meant by bust, and it's like, dude, he knows what you're talking about. My God.
Of S-Bob.
And the creator.
True.
Yes.
Do the Lions qualify?
Well, when I first saw just the quote we had on the screen, I don't see bust, I see Super Bowl, I was like, they weren't. But after that quote, yes, they are S-Bob. But when you watch the full quote, and even a little more than we showed, he wasn't bragging, he wasn't cocky like, oh, we ain't bust, we gonna win Super, you know what I mean? So I'm going to say they are not. They've never been to the Super Bowl in their franchise history. Okay. I get it, last year they got close, so they won it, but I wouldn't say S-Bob, all right? But I did make a list of the 5 teams, Nick, the top 5 S-Bob teams in the NFL.
So there are 5 teams? This is the whole
pretty
list?
Much.
I think we should also, I have such high hopes for this segment, I think we're going to readdress this before the season starts.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is right now, but it's a living, breathing document.
I don't know that it'll change. Okay. And I'm going in reverse order, meaning top to bottom, because we all know who's number 1. Yeah. Let's see it. Kansas City Chiefs, right? It's to the point where we know they want the 3-point, the 3-peat, and nothing else is palatable to them at this point. Like, anything else is just like, we can't stomach anything but winning the Super Bowl. Fair. All right, and they got a better roster than they had a year ago when they won it.
And if the Chiefs don't get to the Super Bowl, it means they went 0-1.
And this is winning.
Season starts
winning
with the AFC Championship.
This is winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, this is the winning. This isn't just getting.
Is S-Bob winning or going?
It's winning.
It's a tapestry. All right.
So this guy, that's why I invented that.
Number 2. Yeah. See if you guys agree. The second most S-Bob.
I think they're more than the Chiefs.
Really? Well, no, okay. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. But how many years can you knock on the door?
Exactly.
If you don't kick it in, at some point it's like, my goodness.
It's like
last 5 years, they need to win it. Because last 5 years they've lost it twice. They've lost twice in the conference finals or championship. So they got to win it. And I've told you guys, I think if they don't win it this year, are they going to break some stuff up? Yeah. Because it's like, my goodness. All right, at number 3, this one you might not agree. Cincinnati, yes. Because I'm looking at Joe Burrow, and I'm just like, he's young, but how is he going to be healthy? How long is he going to be healthy? You got T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson, guys already squawking and asking for trades. And like, how long is this thing going to last in Cincinnati? So go get your ring. Number 4, you probably recognize this one.
Oh.
The Ravens.
One is out.
Lamar's in his 7th year, will be in his 7th year, and he keeps getting closer. Right? First it was, he can't win a playoff game. Then he won a playoff game. Then the divisional round they lost. And then he got hurt, so was out. But then last year they get to the conference championship. And all the multiple-time MVP winners have won a championship or a Super Bowl. All right? And then number 5, it's a mix.
Oh,
The NFC
cowardly
East. No, it's true. Because I could only have 5, so I had to throw those guys in.
Why could you only have
The
5?
Eagles, I could have 6, but I like 5. The
you have
Eagles,
6.
the Eagles, because they, their coach, they met with Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah.
And they were close last year. You can't have a disappointing season after that supernatural funk they went into last year. All right, especially with Bill Belichick out there. So Sirianni's got to get it done this year. Cowboys, because they were Cowboys. You're America's team. It's always S-Bob for you. I said it before and I'll say it again. So the Eagles and the Cowboys, number 5.
Okay. Is he still missing one?
I thought so.
Yeah, I did too.
Patriots?
No, the Jets.
I don't think they're S-Bob. I think if they get to the playoffs, maybe win a game, first time in 14 years in the postseason, you don't think New York's gonna be going crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm serious. Nobody's gonna be like killing them.
That's why I'm not in charge of S-Bob.
So I still think you're missing a team. Because I agree with you on the Jets.
Okay.
If the Jets make the AFC Championship game and lose to the Chiefs, nobody's going to say Aaron failed. No one's going to lose their job.
Oh, I knew what you were going to say.
The Bills are on that list.
Still?
They have to be. If the Bills,
they seem like they're admitting that we're reloading.
Let's do the same thought exercise with the Jets. If the Bills get to the AFC Championship game and lose to the Chiefs, is anyone? I think they'll fire their coach if that happens. You can't lose to the same team in the playoffs 4 out of 5 years and run it all back.
There's not a feeling right now that the Bills have voluntarily taken a step back.
I don't think that Vegas doesn't think that. America doesn't think that. This show, you guys have finally come around. Like Stockholm syndrome to you on them to a degree. Probably wrong analogy there. But
it's because all the guys they let go.
Right, but the world thinks they have the second best quarterback alive. At worst, 4th, and most people say 2nd or 3rd. Right? They are in a division that does not have a juggernaut in it. And while they let guys go, but they didn't, it's not like they did a massive overhaul to where it's like, we know we're taking a massive step back. They traded Diggs because they stopped using him and he was he didn't seem
They
happy
haven't
there.
given their great quarterback any great receivers.
I understand that. I agree with all of that. What I'm saying is, I think if the Buffalo, what is the scenario in Buffalo this year that doesn't end in them playing in the Super Bowl, that doesn't also then end in the coach being fired? What is it? Like if they lose in the playoffs before playing Kansas City,
plenty of reason to get rid of McDermott, and they haven't, and they've extended him.
Well, but 2 years ago, they lose that epic game to the Chiefs. Everyone's happy. They're like, hey, you got unlucky. A year ago, they get blown out by Cincinnati, but I think people felt, and I wasn't one of them, that the DeMar Hamlin thing happened. There was a weird circumstance at the end of the season. This year, it was all falling apart. Then they get hot, and they lose to Kansas City. I think this was the first year they could have fired the coach that people thought they might. Next year, if they lose in the playoffs to anyone but Kansas City, they're going to say, we're going in the wrong direction. And if they lose in the playoffs to Kansas City, they're going to say, we're never going to beat them. So I think if Buffalo doesn't make the Super Bowl, they fire their coach.
Okay, so they did not really talk about the Lions that much because I guess they do not see the Lions as Super Bowl or bust. Because it seems like Nick agrees with that list except for adding the Bills. I don't know why they asked the question, are Lions officially S-Bob, and then not really address it. But since I made this clip and I've already recorded, and I'm in the middle of recording it clearly, I guess I will address it again. Listen, I think the Detroit Lions are S-Bob. And again, to be clear, like I said in my previous video, the whole idea of it being a bust, I don't mean that they have to now fire coaches, do a rebuild, all of that. It's just that that's what the expectations are. And if they don't get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, they're going to see it as a disappointing season. If the Lions get to the NFC Championship game again and then lose, they're not going to be like, that was a great season. claps all around, handshakes, maybe next year. They're not going to see it that way. They're going to be very upset and angry, and they're going to be like, this is our year. We're here. We're here. We're here. And the truth is, when I look at these other teams, I think the Lions have a better chance than the Bengals and the Ravens, and certainly better than the Cowboys. The Eagles are a question mark to me. I'm really curious to see how all of this gets integrated. As you guys know, I'm high on the Eagles as well. I think the Eagles will be a great team, but I've put a lot of these teams, as I've also said in previous videos, I don't rank teams, I put them in groups. And so I think like the 49ers, the Lions, the Eagles, the Packers, like they're all in this group together where it's just going to be like, I genuinely have no idea who's going to win and who's going to lose. No one had any idea who was going to win and who was going to lose. The Packers versus the 49ers. That game could have gone either way. Same thing with the Lions versus the 49ers. Could have gone either way. Same thing with the 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Could have gone either way. All of these were just roll of the dice, flip of the coins. You just all the little things. Greenlaw getting injured, a fumble here, a missed field goal there. You just have no idea. So I'm not going to act like I have any idea months into the season before even seeing any of these teams actually playing. But with that said, I put the Lions up there because I think that they have a true strong chance, and I put them above teams like the Packers, or people are really high on the Chicago Bears, because if the Packers got to the NFC Championship game, I think they would be really happy. They would say, all right, we're growing, we're getting better. I mean, obviously they want to get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, but I don't think they have the expectations or the idea of, if we don't get to the Super Bowl, this is going to be a bust. The Eagles have that because they went to a Super Bowl a couple years and were a play away from winning. So they have that feeling of, we were so close. We still have all of these great players in our prime, yada, yada, yada. Last season was just a bad year because of injuries and because of coaches. We're healthy now. We got coaches. Let's go. So that is now heightened. And the Ravens are also up there because they're also one of the most successful teams in the last 25 years. It's the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Eagles have the most playoff wins in the last 25 years. So again, the expectations are to keep winning, get to Super Bowls, compete for Super Bowls, and that's what it is. The Chiefs, of course, they're the Chiefs right now. And the 49ers are also having that same experience where they're just like, we keep getting to NFC Championship games, we're going to Super Bowl. It's like, right, like when do they finally break free? When do they break through? That's got to be there. The Bengals, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think the Bengals are going to be bad. It's just so hard because Joe Burrow has been injured. So I just don't know what the heck the Bengals are anymore, quite honestly. And I think Joe Burrow is an amazing quarterback, but I don't know what that organization looks like right now with even a healthy Joe Burrow, because we haven't seen it for extended periods of time. So I have no idea. So I don't know what even the expectations are. Like, part of me thinks that the Bengals would be happy to make it to the AFC Championship game. I think if they lost the Chiefs, they would be miserable because it's losing to the Chiefs. But if they lost to, like, I don't know, maybe the Texans or something, the Texans are just balling out and just wheeling and dealing, I think a part of them would maybe also be upset, because then they would maybe have the feeling of that the Texans leapfrogged them and they were supposed to be the second in charge under the Chiefs, and injuries derailed that. So it's just kind of hard to say. The Cowboys, I just don't know who the heck is expecting the Cowboys to do anything competitive this season. I just don't see it. But I think with the Lions, the expectations are get to the Super Bowl. Get to the Super Bowl. And I think maybe if they lose to the Chiefs, I think the Detroit Lions will only be able to sleep at night if they lose to the Chiefs. If they lose to the Texans, the Ravens, the Bengals, I think they will feel, listen, even if they go up against the Chiefs, even if the Chiefs are undefeated going into the Super Bowl, the Lions will still think that they have a chance, but I don't think you're going to feel like we were a failure by not beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But you look at the Bengals, the Ravens, the Texans as an inferior team, right? And especially within the AFC, inferior to Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, this is the chance, right? We got to beat them. I think the Eagles fans losing a couple years ago would have felt a lot worse if they lost to the Ravens or the Bengals than losing to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, right? It's a lot easier to lose to an unbelievable team, Hall of Famers galore, that you're going to be able to sleep better at night. I think it's when you have a team against the Bengals or some of these other teams that you're going to be like, no, like we clearly can beat them. We are just as good, if not better than that you kind of give the kind of bend the knee a little bit to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that are clearly a dynasty, right? The 49ers, I think, are bummed that they lost the Chiefs again, but at the same time, I think most Chiefs fans can understand that's Patrick Mahomes, that's Andy Reid, that's Travis Kelce, right? That's Spags, that's all of this. I think the 49ers fans would be furious last Super Bowl if they lost to the Bengals or the Ravens or the Bills. They would be furious because they just would not be happy, right? They just, I think even big, mega Brock Purdy fans who think Brock Purdy is like the next big thing, they will even concede, well, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But you have a lot of Brock Purdy fans and 49ers fans that say Brock Purdy's better than Joe Burrow. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Lamar Jackson. So they don't see that as a deficit. So if they lost those teams, they would be upset. So that's why I just think at this point, the Detroit Lions, because I think the Detroit Lions also last season feel that they're better than the 49ers. I think they genuinely believe that they are better than the 49ers and that it was just so close. We just couldn't execute. We just missed it. It was just a mistake, either blaming Dan Campbell or just blaming the football gods. Like, just couldn't do it. And that's why. So it wasn't like, no, the 49ers were better than the Detroit Lions, but it just is the way how it goes. And so that's why I feel as though the expectation for the Lions are, okay, we are legit. We are there. We're bringing back the team. We're getting better. We're more mature. We learned our lessons. As long as we're healthy, no one can stop us. We can beat the Packers. We can beat the Eagles. We can beat the Rams. We can beat the 49ers. We've already proven that we can beat the Chiefs. Let's go. So I think the expectations are so high. So I just don't see how it can't be Super Bowl or bust for the Lions, specifically the fan base, specifically the fans. I just can't see them being happy, especially if they lose in the wild card, right? If they don't even make it to the NFC Championship game, right? That's taking a step back, which I don't see it as that because football's not linear in that way, but they would see it as taking a step back, and now they're up, right? They're not going to be happy about that. And if they lose in the NFC Championship game again, they're not going to be happy about that. So I think just reaching the Super Bowl would probably be good enough for the Lions to a degree, but I don't know. Unless it's against like the Bengals or the Ravens, like I said. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that the Lions are officially SBOB? And what about the list that they threw up there that they decided to talk about instead of the Detroit Lions? You know, the Chiefs, 49ers, Bengals, Ravens, Eagles, Cowboys, and they added Bills and maybe Jets. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're absolutely doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.